Most moral systems rely on a predictable symmetry of cause and effect, the idea that specific virtuous inputs guarantee a favorable material outcome. Within this text, that localized system of moral currency is called zehut, or merit. However, the three foundational pillars of human existence, health, children, and wealth, operate on a different frequency. The source text introduces a sharp disruption to this moral economy, stating that these three pillars do not depend on zehut. This creates a difficult reality. Within the closed loop of merit, your efforts don't always translate into these fundamental results. Good people suffer, and those without merit often thrive. This occurs because the realm of zehut is a constricted environment. It is governed by din, or strict, unyielding justice. The text points instead to a different mechanism that governs these essentials, a concept called mozal. If standard morality cannot generate basic survival, we have to look for a hidden structural mechanism governing the cosmos. Modern translations often mistake mozal for luck or chance. The word actually stems from the Hebrew root nozal, meaning to flow. The makor, or source, is a transcendent reservoir situated vertically above the localized plane of cause and effect. Unlike the lower causal plane, this upper reservoir is boundless. It holds unstructured, fluid energy that remains entirely disconnected from the loop of merit below. This fluid energy is Shefa, the divine flow that sustains all existence. Tapping into the mozal requires a person to bypass the lower system of merit to access the flow directly. The text treats the biblical patriarchs as the structural blueprints for establishing this connection. Within this Kabbalistic framework, Abraham functions as a specific systemic node. His attribute is chesed, or loving kindness. Chesed acts as a physical principle of infinite outward expansion. It is a force that seeks to fill every void without limit. The text claims the world is built on chesed, meaning the default state of the source is to give infinitely. However, this infinite expansion cannot be contained by a finite reality. When an unmeasured volume of Shefa hits a material vessel that lacks the capacity to hold it, the vessel shatters. To become usable sustenance, the divine flow must be managed and throttled. Chesed requires a counterforce, or it destroys the very things it intends to sustain. Isaac serves as the necessary systemic counterweight to Abraham's expansion. His node is Gevurah, representing restraint and severity. The text uses the metaphor of Isaac digging wells to describe how this restraint functions. Digging a well requires the forceful displacement of dense earth, carving a vertical shaft through resistant layers of material. These horizontal layers represent dinim, or strict judgments. They act as ontological blockages that prevent energy from descending. When these judgments block the Shefa, the material result is poverty, infertility, or illness. Gevurah applies the targeted force necessary to pierce through these layers and clear the specific blockages. This process creates a keli, a vessel at the bottom of the well defined by its hard boundaries. These boundaries allow the Shefa to pool safely so it can be consumed without overwhelming the recipient. Material reality depends on the infinite expansion of chesed being housed within the strict architecture of Gevurah. This leaves the individual with a problem: what to do when they are trapped in a state of lack, where the well is completely blocked. Standard merit is useless here, because it operates within a system that is already congested by judgment. The text offers a structural solution, teshuvah, or return. This is distinct from the moral concept of an apology, or feelings of regret. Teshuvah is an ontological reconfiguration of an individual's spiritual architecture. It involves achieving a perfect internal alignment of one's own desire to give and capacity for restraint. This alignment utilizes the principle of resonance. Because the individual's internal structure now mirrors the upper architecture of the source, they become transparent to the intermediate layers of judgment. A direct vector shoots upward from the bottom layer. By harmonizing the microcosm of the self with the macrocosm of the divine, the individual creates a conduit that bypasses the rules of localized nature. This vector connects directly to the makor, reaching the mozal itself. Shefa now floods down from the top, overriding local blockages by flowing through this direct connection. This bypass provides the actual mechanism for manifesting life, children, and sustenance. In this state, the person is no longer subject to the constraints of cause and effect or localized merit. They are altering material outcomes at the system's foundational layers. This Kabbalistic system functions as a technical manual for re-engineering human architecture to harmonize with the cosmic flow.